First Chronicles, chapters 7 through 9. Issachar's sons, Tola, Pua, Jashub, and Shimron. 4. Tola's sons, Uzi, Rephiah, Jeriel, Jemai, Ibsam, and Shemuel, the heads of their ancestral families during David's reign. 22,600 descendants of Tola were recorded as valiant warriors in their family records. Uzi's son, Israiah's sons, Michael, Obadiah, Joel, Ishiah, all 5 of them were chiefs. Along with them, they had 36,000 troops for battle according to the family records of their ancestral families, for they had many wives and children. Their tribesmen, who were valiant warriors belonging to all the families of Issachar, totaled 87,000 in their genealogies. 3 of Benjamin's sons, Bela, Becher, and Jediael. Bela's sons, Ezbon, Uzi, Uziel, Jeremoth, and Eri. 5, they were valiant warriors and heads of their ancestral families. 22,034 were listed in their genealogies. Becher's sons, Zemirah, Joash, Eliezer, Elioenai, Omri, Jeremoth, Abijah, Anathoth, and Alameth. All these were Becher's sons. Their family records were recorded according to the heads of their ancestral families, 20,200 valiant warriors. Jadiel's son, Bilhan, Bilhan's sons, Jeush, Benjamin, Ehud, Shanaanah, Zephan, Tarshish, and Ahishahar. All these sons of Jediel, listed by family heads, were valiant warriors. There were 17,200 who could serve in the army. Shupim and Hupim were sons of and the Hushim were the sons of Naphtali's sons, Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, and Shallum, Bilhah's sons. Manasseh's sons, through his Aramean concubine, Azriel, and Mashir, the father of Gilead. Mashir took wives from Hupim and Shupim. The name of his sister was Maacah. Another descendant was named Zelophehad, but he had only daughters. Mashir's wife, Maacah, gave birth to a son, and she named him Peresh. His brother was named Sheresh, and his sons were Ulam and Rechem. Ulam's son, Bedan. These were the sons of Gilead, son of Mashir, son of Manasseh. His sister Hameleketh gave birth to Ishad, Abiezer, and Mala. Shemaiah's sons, Ayan, Shishem, Liki, and Aniam. Ephraim's sons, Shuthelah, and his son Bered, his son Teath, his son Eliada, his son Teath, his son Zabad, his son Shuthelah, also Ezer and Eliad, the men of Gath, born in the land, killed them, because they went down to raid their cattle. Their father Ephraim mourned a long time, and his relatives came to comfort him. He slept with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to a son. So he named him Beriah, because there had been misfortune in his home. His daughter was Shirah, who built Lower and Upper Beth-horon, and Uzan, Shirah, his son Repha, his son Rephae, his son Tela, his son Tean, his son Ladan, his son Ammiud, his son Elishama, his son Nun, and his son Joshua. Their holdings and settlements were Bethel and its surrounding villages, Naaran to the east, Gezer and its villages to the west, and Shechem and its villages as far as Aya and its villages. And along the borders of the descendants of Manasseh, Beth-shean, Teanak, Megiddo, and Dor, with their surrounding villages, the sons of Joseph, son of Israel, lived in these towns. Asher's sons, Imnah, Ishvi, and Beriah, with their sister Serah. Beriah's sons, Heber and Mashiel, who fathered Berzaith. Heber fathered Japhlet, Shomer, and Hotham, with their sister Shua. Japhlet's sons, Pasek, Bimhal, and Ashvath. These were Japhlet's sons. Shemer's sons, Ai, Roga, Hobah, and Aram. His brother Helem's sons, Zophah, Imnah, Shelesh, and Amal. Zophah's sons, Shua, Harnefer, Shual, Beri, Imrah, Bezer, Had, Shammah, Shilsha, Ithran, and Bera. Jether's sons, Shephuneh, Pispa, and Era. Ulah's sons, Ara, Haniel, and Reziah. All these were Asher's descendants. They were the heads of their ancestral families, chosen men, valiant warriors, and chiefs among the leaders. The number of men listed in their genealogies for military service was 26,000. Benjamin fathered Bela, his firstborn. Ashbel was born second. Ahara third. Noah fourth, and Rapha fifth. Bela's sons, Adar, Gera, Abiud, Abishua, Naaman, Ahoa, Gera, Shephufan, and Huram. These were Ehud's sons, who were the heads of the families living in Geba, and who were deported to Manahath. Naaman, Ijah, and Gera. Gera deported them, and was the father of Uzzah. And Ehud, Shaharaim, had sons in the territory of Moab after he had divorced his wives, Hushim and Beara. His sons by his wife Hodish, Jobab, Zebiah, Mesha, Malcolm, Jeuz, Sakia, Mirma. These were his sons' family heads. He also had sons by Hushim, Abitub, and Elpaal. Elpaal's sons, Eber, Misham, and Shemed, who built Ono and Lod and its surrounding villages, Beriah and Shema, who were the family heads of Ajalon's residents, and who drove out the residents of Gath, Ahio, Shashak, and Jeremoth. Zebediah, Arad, Eder, Michael, Ishpa, and Joah were Beriah's sons. Zebediah, Meshullam, Hizki, Heber, Ishmerai, Isliah, and Jobab were Elpaal's sons. Jachim, Zikri, Zabdi, Elianai, Zelathai, Eliel, Adiah, Beriah, and Shimrath were Shimei's sons. Ishpan, Eber, Eliel, Abdon, Zikri, Hanan, Hananiah, Elam, and Thothijah, Ivdiah, and Penuel were Shishak's sons. Shemshirai, Shehariah, Athaliah, Jehoreshiah, Elijah, and Zikri were Jeroham's sons. These were family heads, chiefs, according to their family records. They lived in Jerusalem. Jael fathered Gibeon and lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah. Abdon was his firstborn son. Then Zur, Kish, Baal, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechar, and Mikloth, who fathered Shimei. These also lived opposite their relatives in Jerusalem with their other relatives. Ner fathered Kish, Kish fathered Saul, and Saul fathered Jonathan. Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. Jonathan's son was Meribbaal, and Meribbaal fathered Micah. Micah's sons Pithon, Melech, Terah, and Ahaz. Ahaz fathered Jehoiada. Jehoiada fathered Elameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri fathered Moza. Moza fathered Benaiah. His son was Repha, his son Elasa, and his son Azel. Azel had 6 sons, and these were their names: Azrikam, Bakaru, Ishmael, Sheariah, Obadiah, and Hunan. All these were Azel's sons. His brother Eshek's sons: Ulam was his firstborn, Jeush second, and Eliphalet third. Ulam's sons were valiant warriors and archers. They had many sons and grandsons, 150 of them. All these were among Benjamin's sons. All Israel was registered in the genealogies that are written in the book of the kings of Israel. But Judah was exiled to Babylon because of their unfaithfulness. The first to live in their towns on their own property again were Israelites, priests, Levites, and temple servants. These people from the descendants of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh settled in Jerusalem. Uzai, son of Ammiud, son of Omri, son of Imri, son of Bani, a descendant of Perez, son of Judah, from the Shilonites, Asaiah, the firstborn, and his sons, and from the descendants of Zerah, Jeuel, and their relatives, 690 in all. The Benjaminites: Salu, son of Meshulam, son of Hodaviah, son of Hasenua; Ibniah, son of Jeroham; Elah, son of Uzi, son of Mikri; Meshulam, son of Shephatiah, son of Ruel, son of Ibnijah, and their relatives according to their family records, 956 in all. All these men were heads of their ancestral families: the priests Jediah, Jehoiarib, and Jashin. Azariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Meshulam, son of Zadok, son of Merioth, son of Ahitub, the chief official of God's temple. Adiah, son of Jeroham, son of Pashur, son of Malchijah; Maasai, son of Adiel, son of Jazara, son of Meshulam, son of Meshilemith, son of Emer, and their relatives, the heads of their ancestral families, 1,760 in all. They were capable men, employed in the military of God's temple. The Levites: Shemaiah, son of Hashub, son of Azikam, son of Hashabiah; of the Merarites: Bakar, Heresh, Galal, and Mattaniah, son of Micah, son of Zikri, son of Asaph; Obadiah, son of Shemaiah, son of Gilal, son of Jeduthun; and Berechiah, son of Asa, son of Elkanah, who lived in the settlements of the Netophathites. The gatekeepers, Shallum, Akub, Talman, Iman, and their relatives. Shallum was their chief. He was previously stationed at the king's gate on the east side. These were the gatekeepers from the camp of the Levites. Shallum, son of Kor, son of Abiasaph, son of Korah, and his relatives from his ancestral family, the Korites, were assigned to guard the thresholds of the tent. Their ancestors had been assigned to the Lord's camp as guardians of the entrance. In earlier times, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, had been their leader, and the Lord was with him. Zechariah, son of Meshelemiah, was the gatekeeper at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The total number of those chosen to be gatekeepers at the threshold was 212. They were registered by genealogy in their settlements. David and the seer Samuel had appointed them to their trusted positions. So they and their sons were assigned as guards to the gates of the Lord's temple, which had been the 10th temple. The gatekeepers were on the four sides, east, west, north, and south. Their relatives came from their settlements at fixed times to be with them 7 days, but the four chief gatekeepers, who were Levites, were entrusted with the rooms and the treasuries of God's temple. They spent the night in the vicinity of God's temple because they had guard duty and were in charge of opening it every morning. Some of them were in charge of the utensils used in worship. They would count them when they brought them in and when they took them out. Others were put in charge of the furnishings and all the utensils of the sanctuary, as well as the fine flour, wine, oil, incense, and spices. Some of the priests' sons mixed the spices. A Levite called Mattithiah, the firstborn of Shallum, and Korah the Korite, was entrusted with baking the bread. Some of the Korites' relatives were responsible for preparing the rows of the bread of the presence every Sabbath. The singers, the heads of the Levite families, stayed in the temple chambers and were exempt from other tasks because they were on duty day and night. These were the heads of the Levite families, chiefs, according to their family records. They lived in Jerusalem. Jael fathered Gibeon and lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah. Abdon was his firstborn son. Then Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth. Mikloth fathered Shimeam. These also lived opposite their relatives in Jerusalem with their other relatives. Ner fathered Kish, Kish fathered Saul, and Saul fathered Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. Jonathan's son was Meribbaal, and Meribbaal fathered Micah. Micah's sons, Pithon, Melech, Tareah, and Ahaz. Ahaz fathered Jerah. Jerah fathered Elameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri fathered Moza. Moza fathered Benaiah. His son was Raphiah. His son Elasa, and his son Azel. Azel had 6 sons. These were their names: Azrikam, Bakaru, Ishmael, Shariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were Azel's sons.